Hey y'all, gravity. Any day above ground, live it. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Go out there and hump something. Oh, they're still mad over Epstein, and it's been 3 days now. 4 if you want to count Sunday. They're still arguing over this. They still want Pam Bondi fired. They want Matt Gaetz in that seat. I don't know what to tell you, family. I don't know. But it's okay. We're going to laugh none the same, and we're going to terrorize MAGA this morning. This is why I said they don't want to save the country. They just want to be celebrities. It was never, and don't let them dissuade you, because they're going to try this. They're going to tell you how they're America first and all this. Don't let them fall. Don't fall for it. Again, they only wanted that list to come out so they could go dunk on celebrities. That's it. They're pissed off that they can't make content. Now they're over there on their social media pages saying how they don't care. Now they're saying that they knew they weren't going to get a list. Oh my God. They're over there saying, why didn't Biden and them put out the list to make Trump look bad? They're saying about the things that I've seen them trying to excuse for this when they just don't want to say it. The government lied to them. It's okay. I know the person you picked is in there. They lied to you. Hey, you MAGA fools. Most of y'all are former Democrats, allegedly. We still think you are, but, you're blue MAGA. We understand. You voted for Obama and found out he lied to you. But that's okay. You can go in on him. But you find out Trump lied to you, you're doing insane amounts of coke, trying to say that it's not him, it's the deep state. It's not him, it's somebody else. And you're fighting amongst each other when you should just resign to the fact that the government is not your friend. Look, here's one of them. Benny Johnson. We care about Epstein because we care if our government is protecting an elite PDF file cult. That's it. That's why we care. The government should be thrilled to prove that they're not protecting predators by releasing all Epstein evidence and prosecuting. Oh my God. Benny, there's too much money at stake. That's why they're not going to prosecute. Since we have to tell you this, the alleged DEIs. That's the reason. But y'all are the influencer class. You're supposed to be new media, right? Why aren't y'all doing the investigations? Notice, and again, I said this the other night, where's these FOIA requests? Not now one of them said that they're doing that. It should be very easy. Y'all got to see one of these responses, I swear to God. And it involved Elon. You know what? Let me just show it to you. Let me go get it. You're going to fall out your seats. Look at this. I think this is the one. Yeah, here it is. This account said, at first I thought this was the correct take for Candace Owens, but she doesn't see what Elon is doing. She wrote when he said that Steve Bannon was in them files. She said, I think it would be prudent for a journalist to ask the White House plainly if Elon Musk was granted access to Epstein's files. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Accusing everyone we are mad at of being in the files. Elon, he spelled baiting wrong, but we're not going to knock him. Not today. Elon is baiting people to sue him for defamation so he can get the Epstein files released in court and ideally the public. No one is going to sue because they are either in there, he spelled there wrong, but we're not going to knock him, or too afraid, gave him the wrong two, but we're not going to knock him, too afraid of the Jews that run our government. It always goes back to them Jews. It always goes back to the Jews. Oh, Lord. November 3rd, 2026 is going to be one of our greatest days ever. Oh, Lord. And let me help you on common sense, because you're basically on the common sense side, which means that you have none. Um, y'all basically told Elon Musk to go stand next to Trump. You brought him in the inner circle. You see him beefing with Trump now. He's still technically inside the inner circle. Why would he help you? Y'all are knocking his AI right now. Why should he help you? What have you done for that man? How many of y'all on here who took his paycheck scam got a Tesla? Notice they're still vandalizing Teslas, but they're not saying anything about it. Let's look at them Tesla sales real fast. Since they care about this man before he said what he said about Trump, let's see. Let's see if Tesla sales went up or down. Let's see. Well, look at that. That was April. Here we go. Now, that's the second quarter. 16% in April and 13.5% in the second quarter. Interesting. Let's update it. Let's see. We'll go past week. Let's see. Tesla hit with surprising sales update in key U.S. market. Let's see what this is. Tesla's market share in Oregon has plummeted from nearly half of all electric vehicles in the state in 2023 to just 1 in 6 this year, according to the Oregonian. New Tesla registrations fell 17% through the first 5 months of 2025 compared to the same period last year, per data from the Oregon Department of Transportation. But y'all loved that man about a couple months ago. All right. But anyway, come on in, MAGA. Tell me how y'all are not a cult. Come prove me wrong. Oh, who heard what Trump said yesterday? What's this?
Lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the minutes?
Yeah, sure. If I
Now,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? It's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Now, come on, Trump. Now, we ain't gonna act like you didn't know this was still going on. Now, come on. I like what he's doing. Now he's playing, he found out somebody in the administration told him he had plausible deniability. And he's using it very effectively. You're gonna act like you didn't hear this. Somebody insults you, even if they're low level, you'll find that out. But this here that's been dominating the news for the last 3 days, you didn't hear about this. You're acting like people are still bringing him up from like years ago. Smart move.
That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, D-Money, they saying that was photoshopped. So you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. Tipping an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing.
You can ask whatever questions you want. If they're stupid, you're going to get blocked.
There was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every.
What the hell did she just say? I don't even know what she just said. Oh no, yeah, they have photos. Not when we say Photoshop, it means that they inserted Trump into them pictures. Yeah, it was a wild way you could do it back in the day. You just take two pictures, cut somebody out, and just reshoot it. There was ways to do it. But yeah. Y'all still want to tell me that y'all were cool with this chick, Baker Act Bondi. Y'all were cool with her. Red flag law Bondi. The woman who took away somebody's guns because one of their neighbors said that they were acting weird. Cool. Come on now. Now, so just to review what we heard in this video, Trump's acting like they just randomly brought up Jeffrey Epstein again. Okay, that's not what happened. So you're using plausible deniability. That's fine. And Pam Bondi is playing the I'm going to snow everybody game badly, but she's playing it. By the way, remember what I said yesterday? They've been clamoring for Matt Gaetz to come back. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of tweets. They want Matt Gaetz back. All right. Y'all don't want him to run Florida. You want him to be in this administration to deal with this. Okay. I mean, that's fine. You're allowed whatever you want. This is America. Look at Ben Shapiro. What did he say? Let's look.
That amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation. They're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want, and I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money. And that's a very serious open question. The speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail, but the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this.
Wrong. First off, y'all elected Trump and J.D. Vance and your congressional representatives, and on that night, senators, if they were up. You did not elect his cabinet. They don't have to answer to you. So what Ben just said was false.
Matter are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not keep a client list, and he did not blackmail powerful figures. Anyway, that is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying this. If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are in fact lying. Because I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me.
Sir, he works for the government. Why wouldn't he lie to you? Oh boy. I told y'all I told y'all when Trump was sitting there bragging on influencers, going on people's streams, I said, this is dangerous. Do you realize that Ben Shapiro is doing the same thing that Biden and them did? We all lambasted them for bringing influencers into the White House. We lambasted the first Trump administration for bringing influencers that just kiss his ass into the White House. But the second time around, y'all are praising these influencers. Now you want to turn on them? You see why it was dangerous the first time? You legitimize these people, and these people are not smart. But okay.
I know Kash Patel a little bit. I don't think Kash Patel is lying to me. I don't think these people are lying to me. Which means that if somebody else continues to claim that they're lying, they ought to provide their evidence at this point. And now is the point at which the facts on the ground have changed. And so either you ought to shift your opinion based on the facts that have now emerged, or you ought to acknowledge that
Shift your opinion. Shift your opinion. Okay. But if you had the opinion that the government lied to you, and it consistently lied to you, you don't have to switch your opinion, because that is the truth. And your evidence is plentiful. Now they're saying they're going to release the JFK and MLK files. That's going to be the next thing. Okay. What else we got? And as I said, look, Matt Gaetz, they're asking for him back. There we go.
Fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way.
Probably will be.
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's up.
Probably will be. This is why I also knocked him for putting out these campaign promises I knew he wasn't going to keep. That's not how you win votes. And again, people that believe that he was going to release this, or his administration was going to release this, yeah, okay. Sure. We'll believe you when other stuff comes out. Exactly how much am I being paid to do this? Nothing. So explain to me why you wrote that. But yeah. All right. So again, 3 days. 3 days. All these people that were following around Trump, he could do no wrong. Now they want to question him. You should have questioned him from the beginning. And then you got the Siamese coons here saying, fellas, people did not vote for Trump to have the Epstein files released. I know we have to say it again, but we're going to say it again. Trust and believe that wasn't high on the list for people. But okay. And as I said, with the cope, here's Zeke Arkham, that cop, the one that was going to beat up a white politician in New York. He has to go tell people, I'm still on the Trump train. You didn't need to say it. You could have kept moving. Shamika don't even say nothing to that person. It's okay. They want attention. They can't go out, it's Wednesday and hump something. It's okay. We don't care that you face criticism, blowback, hatred, and risk. Who cares? You sound like a victim, and we're gonna tell him that. You sound like a victim. Buck up. You sound like a victim. You sound like a victim. Oh my God. They love to tell us that we over here trying to get restorative justice for black people. We begging too much, but then you gonna go on here and write a whole goddamn soliloquy about how you're a Trump supporter. Nobody cares. But anyway, I'm going to start posting this every day so nobody forgets who Donald Trump is and why the Epstein files have suddenly disappeared. Because he's a Democrat. I think that's very easy. That's all you got to say. Somebody asks you, why didn't Donald Trump release the Epstein files? Because he's a Democrat. This one says, we can all argue and throw hands over Trump, Bondi, Bongino, and Cash till Letitia James comes home. Yes, that fat back, whatever. That fat black bee is a damn cow. Won't ever change the fact that government officials are covering up the largest Epstein-led PDF file ring in our history, and they continue to lie to us about it. I stand with the victims. Yeah. Yeah. Just because you disagree with Trump on certain things doesn't mean you're jumping ship. You're allowed to question things. Okay, I'm going to help you because you're simple. Watching this discourse over the last 3 days, something glaring came out of this that a lot of people aren't talking about, except me. Most of MAGA doesn't even realize there's midterms coming up. There's a bunch of governor's races where a lot of Republicans are leaving office. They're not even talking about those races. All of the House is up. There's some senators that are up as well. Y'all can give power back to the Democrats and we could just go back to 2021 and 2022 and 2023. We could just go right back to that and y'all not gonna care because you're gonna have 2 years to bitch about something till the presidential election. And you wonder why I said MAGA is gonna die that night. You wonder why. What about the Diddy case? I don't know. We made jokes about that. We said that Diddy and Trump, it could be related. I don't think it's related because there weren't kids involved, so to speak. But anyway, no, I don't think it's the same thing. But, okay. Not a bad question. Here's a video of Jim. Oh, yeah, this is the other thing. Now they're going to go after Jim Comey. His administration is a joke. Here's a video of Jim Comey actually admitted the FBI sabotaged Trump and his administration, admitted his sedition with a smile on his face. Comey was not pardoned by Joe Biden. Comey's under investigation. Lock him up now. Okay, great. Lock him up. True. We all remember when somebody made that meme of them being the Justice League. Yeah, all right. Y'all out of line for that. In this photo, you could see the President of the United States and Donald Trump. All right. I mean, listen. Y'all didn't vet nobody in MAGA. That's why y'all were allowed to have the Israel discourse. Never seen Trump handle a situation worse than he handled the Epstein deal. What about the economy? All right. Let's go look and see how the Dow Jones is doing. This is about to open. Let's see how it did yesterday. Well, shit. Well, shit. There you go. Wall Street ticks higher in pre-market as extension of trade deal deadline eases market anxiety. All right. Here we go. Trump unveils 50% levy on copper, sending price to record. All right. Back to this. President Trump, you campaigned on revealing the truth of Jeffrey Epstein, and exposing his client list. Now people are just supposed to forget about it while billionaires and world leaders get away with participating in a global sex trafficking ring. Offer response. And this asshole, you see what I mean? This is why you having influencers around a government was dangerous from day one. That's not what he campaigned on. I just want y'all to understand there's a whole cadre of these type of people that don't understand what's going on. This is influencer babble. But okay, you got it. Trump, are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Yes, we are. Why does Trump not care? Because that's who he is. He doesn't care. You're just finding this out. So there's that. Then I saw this morning. This morning. The director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency stated that rent payments can now be used to qualify for a mortgage. This policy change allows Americans to leverage their rental payment history as part of their credit history for mortgage applications, expanding beyond traditional credit cards and loans. They already do this. Okay. For those who didn't know, you can easily go to your landlord or rental company and get your rental payment history. Itemized, month, amount. You can put that with your bank records and use that in the mortgage application. You literally can. For people that have these rental companies, you can just go to the office and get it. They literally just do this. A lot of people don't know it though. So unless you're gonna make this a law, you're just doing something that's already been done. And you act like you just thought of it. But, okay, fine. Sure. Okay. Let's see. I guess MAGA is not going to come in here and prove that they're cold. They must be in one. Come on, MAGA, come defend your administration. I heard y'all very loud when Biden and them, they were messing about and their people couldn't defend it. Come on now, come defend your man. Defend that bad stock market yesterday. Come defend it. I just want to have a conversation. No insults, nothing like that. Let's just have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about that big, beautiful bill. That no tax on tips really got them. They got them not looking at math, but all right, fine. And overtime is what's going to hit everybody. That's the one that's going to hit everybody. But all right. What we going to do is we're going to go to our old pal. Old Piers had another explosive segment on his show. Yes, he did. Wait, that video finna play.
Do you understand that
Yeah, that video finna play. Yeah, this one. Jack Posobiec is such a tool, and I swear on everything I love, This binder gripping a-hole, his downfall might be, it might be underrated. Because before we play that, the way he's a lapdog for old Charlie Kirk, it has to be studied. Especially with this Epstein stuff. Now that he couldn't prove it, now they're gonna go after the Austin fire chief. Because of course, when you can't squeeze the last drop of water out of there, you just dunk it in the other bucket. Black people bad again. Shout out to Brother Torin. But anyway, let's go to this. Now, this was hilarious yesterday.
To come and work.
Let's get to the panel.
With you, what's happened here? I mean, we were all led down a train of thoughts that there was going to be all sorts of stuff coming out about this Epstein case, the files, the names, the lists, accountability, and then boom, it's all disappeared.
Yeah, it appears. I mean, this is, as we would say in the military, unsat, completely unsat from Attorney General.
Oh, we could talk about Dr. Phil going bankrupt. That was funny as hell. We could talk about that.
Line about there being files that are currently under seal in some criminal case. Well, then great. Let's go and get those unsealed as soon as possible. Look, I was brought to the White House under the pretense of a series of policy briefings that were going to be held, not just from the AG, but from, we had the Vice President came in, the President came in, Bobby Kennedy came in. So we had a rotating series of people from the administration, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and then nobody told us prior to this that the Epstein files would be anywhere even on the agenda for that day, and it was really sprung as a surprise to all of us. We get handed these binders, and then before we even have a chance to look into them, we're hauled out actually in front of the cameras that were all there because Prime Minister Keir Starmer was visiting the White House that day, and
Okay, wait a minute. See, this is what I mean when I say Jack is an a-hole. Jackson. Jackson. Let's ask the question. Since you say, because it is true, they did have camera crews out there. They did. I just have a question. Explain this to me though. What camera person gave you this photo? I'm just asking for friends. Which one of them did that? Because this looks like a selfie to me. You look like you're being held hostage. You look like you need to blink twice. I'm just saying.
so happened that they were all in front of the West Wing. And by the time that we have the ability to actually go through them, well, lo and behold, we find out that it's all information that was completely already.
Who's watching CNN? Oh Lord, here we go, sir. We're literally watching YouTube. We're literally watching Piers Morgan's YouTube channel. What CNN are you talking about? Please be quiet.
In the public domain. In fact, some of the information that was in the public domain was more extensive than what was given to us on that day. So the whole thing, obviously, I think, as you say, is a cock-up. I hope I'm using that phrase correctly. I'm not entirely familiar with it, but that certainly feels like what happened here. And we don't have the accountability that was spoken of. We don't have the releases that were spoken of. And it's indefensible. It's indefensible that the answers aren't there when so much was promised.
Brian Shapiro, I mean, look, it's perfectly possible. Indeed, it looks
Promise?
likely.
Promise. He's mad that the government promised him something and didn't deliver. Wow. Welcome.
that Epstein did indeed just commit suicide. What is not perfectly possible, to my cynical eye about this, is that he was the only person, other than Ghislaine Maxwell, who's been imprisoned, who was ever up to criminal activity on his island and other places. It just stretches credulity. But nobody, it seems, is ever going to be held accountable other than him, who evaded accountability by dying and killing himself, or Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman. So none of these other men who were linked to this are ever going to be even remotely held accountable. It's just disappeared.
Well, what I would say, Pierce, first of all, when Haba did your show, where did she get that information
Right.
from? Where did that come from back in February? I would also say to Pam Bondi, she lied on Fox News, or maybe she was telling the truth. She said that she had a list that was on her desk, Pierce. Where did that list go? Was she lying? Was that made up? And I'd also say, thirdly, and I know this is something that Jack probably doesn't want to bring up, but the fact of the matter is that Jeffrey Epstein's on audio saying at one point Donald Trump was his best friend. We also know that Donald Trump was on the Epstein flight log 7 times. We learned that in the Maxwell case. So I don't think it's a stretch to say maybe Donald Trump might be somewhere in these files. Maybe. We don't know that for sure, but I know if it was the other way around, and if it was Joe Biden that was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein at one point, that's all Jack and MAGA Republicans would be talking about. I think Donald Trump is on this list, and I think Donald Trump is in these files, and I think the Trump administration is hiding something.
I mean, what is extraordinary, I think, Brian, is that it all seems to have gone incredibly quiet from the moment Elon Musk started dragging Trump's name into the Epstein case when they fell out in posts on his X platform. And he's carried on overnight doing more posts, not directly linking the president, but saying what the hell has happened here, effectively. But he was the one that ignited the Trump link again. You do wonder, is that involved here? Has Trump basically thought this is just going to be a lot of bad publicity here? Let's just get rid of it.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Pierce. Anytime somebody says something about Donald Trump that might not be true, Trump always threatens a lawsuit. Why is it that Donald Trump didn't threaten to sue Elon Musk when Elon Musk said that Trump was all over the Epstein files? I find that to be very, very interesting. Bill Maher could call Donald Trump the son of an orangutan, and then Trump will file a lawsuit about that. Why wouldn't he file a lawsuit against Elon? Maybe Elon is telling the truth, and maybe Elon knows some things that the general public does not know. I tend to believe Elon on this one.
It's certainly...
So now we're giving Elon Musk a pass. Jesus. Okay. Didn't know that. All right.
Intriguing. John Kiriakou, what do you think has happened here? I mean, Epstein, one of the most infamous cases of the last 20 years, of the century, arguably. So many famous, powerful, rich people whose names were dragged into this and were clearly in attendance at his parties and on his island and so on. And then here, now suddenly, having led the media around the world into a lava of excitement.
Maybe the UK in their deal with us to avoid the tariffs, well, high tariffs, maybe they told them to kill that list because they're not even bringing up the scumbag Prince Andrew. Just a thought.
Excitement about it's all going to come out and you're going to get all the details. Now, bang, it's just been shelved. What do you make of it? You probably see.
Don't care. Let's move on. I don't care about your VPN.
/B.
Well, based on my own experience at the CIA, there's very little daylight between the CIA and the FBI. The CIA said there was no torture program. That was a lie. No international renditions. That was a lie. No secret prisons. That was a lie. MK Ultra documents were all released. That was a lie. The CIA didn't try to recruit Oswald. That's a lie. These organizations that make up the so-called deep state, and we can have that debate whether or not you want to call it deep state, but they all lie. They're trained to lie. And so I don't even think that we should blame the likes of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I think people probably at a lower level destroyed whatever they could destroy and let the lie go up to the very top and hope that this whole thing just goes away if there are no documents to...
So why aren't you saying whoever destroyed it needs to go to jail? Y'all wanted Hillary Clinton in jail for destroying servers and having her team destroy servers and cell phones. Why are we not getting the same thing? Okay.
To implicate famous people, then it'll eventually go quiet. And my guess is in 30 years or 50 years or whenever it's going to be, at least some of the truth will probably be released.
Adam Mockler, I mean, it does stick in the gullet, doesn't it, that the only person to go to prison in the whole Epstein scandal is a woman.
Yeah, well, John said he thinks the people.
So Jeffrey Epstein didn't go to prison. Okay. All right. He didn't go to prison. He wasn't sitting in prison. Well, a detention center. He went in jail. Okay. Fine. All right.
People at the bottom might have destroyed the evidence, but the reality is the people at the top, like Pam Bondi, were the ones saying they have the list sitting on their desk. So it seems like that deep state you referred to, the party that promised to defeat the deep state, very quickly became the deep state.
Did she say that, or never mind? Never mind.
Here's the timeline in my eyes. Pam Bondi says, I have the list on my desk right here. They're rather silent for a few months. Then Elon Musk says Trump is in the Epstein list. Then within weeks, apparently the list is gone. I mean, I'm looking at this photo of Jack Posobiec holding up the Epstein files. It says the Epstein files, phase 1. But where's phase 2? There's no phase 2. So I'm happy that influencers like Jack are admitting they were conned by the admin to cover up the sexual abuse of children.
Yeah, Jack, I mean, do you feel angry? Do you feel you were used in some way?
Well, it's very upsetting. It's extremely upsetting to be brought in something like this, to think that you're going into a situation where, hey, we're finally going to get some of these answers that we all want. Because at the end of the day, this is all about getting justice for the victims here, the actual victims. And I keep going back and looking over the different pieces of this story. You know, what was Prince Andrew disgraced for? Why did he go up on this huge interview and then lose all of his titles and all that? And he's losing his security now, I hear. You know, why did we go all the way around? You know, name after name after name. But at the end of the day, it's actually about the victims. And do you really mean to tell me that all of those victims were questioned and all of the things that they said were investigated and were run down? Because it just doesn't really feel like that's been done here.
No, it doesn't. You're talking of Elon Musk. Brian, just to bring you in again here. So Musk is now simultaneous to all this. Obviously, this flame out with Trump is gathering momentum. He's now announced the launch of a new political party, the America Party. You know, third parties have had, you know, a few instances in modern American history. They never tend to get very far, but we've never had the richest and most successful businessman in history launching one who's got $300 billion and happens to own one of the biggest social media platforms.
How does he have $300 billion? Okay. All right.
On which he has 200 million followers. He's not just your average third-party guy, is he? How interesting is this, and how damaging could this be, particularly to Donald Trump and the Republicans?
I think it certainly hurts Republicans and Donald Trump more than Democrats, but I would also say what you mentioned, this is the richest man in the world. With money comes a lot of power. This has been tried in the past many a times, but it hasn't been tried with someone with the money and the power that Elon Musk has. But I think the question we need to ask ourselves now is this just another phase that Elon Musk is going through? And then when this blows over, if it ever does, between him and Donald Trump, will he just move on? Or is he really, truly serious about this? You know, there are a lot of people that didn't think that he was ever going to buy Twitter, now X, and he ended up doing that. So, you know, will he do this? Will he continue this? And in 6 months from now, will we still be talking about this? I would venture to guess probably so. It sounds to me like Elon Musk is serious, and this will be very damning, in my opinion, to plenty of MAGA Republicans out there.
Oh my God, he's not serious. Jeez. He's not serious. Does he realize if he does this, he's going to open himself up to finance disclosures that he's going to have to put out there? He's not serious. All right.
Yeah, and Adam, you know, what this all...
Kara, that's all net worth. He don't have $300 billion. And that's mostly tied up in Tesla stock.
all seems to centre around is he was brought in obviously to run Doge, to reduce government overspending and waste. And
he stole it from Vivek, but you know, we're not gonna go there. We hate them both.
at the same time, Trump was launching the big beautiful bill, which many people think is going to add trillions to the debt. The two were clearly incompatible bedfellows, and that's led to Musk going. Now, Trump talks about EV car mandates being one of the catalysts for the falling out or whatever, but it's probably as simple as one person wanted to slash government spending, and the other one wanted to bring in policies which are highly likely, certainly in the short to midterm, to increase the national spending and debt. So there's the clash. How serious do you think this is going to get?
I don't think you should understate the extent to which Jared Isaacman, the NASA candidate, being slashed, also pissed Elon Musk off.
Right.
He was really mad about Jared Isaacman. What I find funny about all of this is that Elon Musk is now leveraging the same mechanisms that he used to get Trump elected, but just a few months ago, to now start a third party designed to undermine Trump's coalition. So the attention economy that...
Just another nerd. Nobody forgets that. But, you know. Sure.
Gaza with Twitter, he's going to leverage that. The vast wealth, he's going to leverage that. As to the question of how serious this is, I actually disagree with Brian. I think in 6 months, Elon will be on to the next thing. He doesn't seem to have a steady hand needed in politics to carry through a long-term agenda, and we saw that with Doge.
Well, there might be another reason, which is the shares in Tesla are tanking, down 7%, I think, at the start of regular trading today. You know, that might just be a market reaction. It may recover. But certainly, recent numbers for Tesla have not been good. John, what do you think of this? I mean, it's not an intelligence issue, but as an American, what do you feel about now the potential for a third party by somebody who's actually got the means to make it significant?
Well, it wasn't too long ago that Ross Perot was able to buy 30-minute blocks on literally every network to promote his own candidacy and had something like 19%, which was very, very respectable for an independent presidential candidate. But it didn't lead to anything. With Elon Musk,
okay, if he's serious, why is he not putting up politicians? He has to start it now. Where is his politicians? He might as well just become a PAC then.
there's nothing behind it but money. There's nobody running in the state legislatures, nobody running for Congress and whatever it's called, the American Party or some silly name like that. There's nobody running for the local school board or the water commission that's going to...
Andrew Yang ain't serious. He's not serious. This is to get his name back up. He's not serious in doing this.
To be the roots of this new party. I think that this is just kind of a vanity project, and I have to agree that I think in 6 months some shiny object is going to distract Elon Musk, and we're not going to even hear about this party anymore.
Jack, what do you feel about this? A lot of people on the MAGA side of Trump's support were pretty dubious about Elon Musk to start with. You know, a lot of them thought, well, this guy was a Democrat, and now he's come over, and maybe he's just trying to buy his way into power, get Trump elected, and use that to benefit all his companies, which obviously do benefit and have benefited from that association. But now it's gone the other way, and he's clearly trying to punish Trump and punish Republicans in London.
Okay, Miles Sr., go ahead. Explain how Elon is another MAGA traitor. I want to hear this. I'm gonna let you go off.
This third party. What do you feel about the politics going on here?
Well, I think the politics that everyone said, and I broadly agree with everyone's take so far on here. I think this is a way to put leverage on President Trump, to put leverage on the party as we go towards the elections and then determining the swing of things. Because, look, people are saying, what about the presidential race and Ross Perot? And certainly with the tight margins that we saw in the 7 swing states, you could play a role there. But look at the midterms right now. With congressional majority in the House being as small as it is, you would only need to flip a couple of seats, run a couple of spoiler candidates in a few of those tight races, and you could easily flip the House one way or the other. So what it does is right now, today, is buy him...
How do you flip it one way or the other? It either stays where it is in Republican control or goes back to the Democrats. It's only one way. Let me tell you something. You're not going to get a supermajority on the Republican side. There's no way. Unless, the only way I could see that happening, I'm actually giving them free game, but they're not going to do this. You got to fix the supply chain before next summer. I don't see them doing that, but, could happen, could not. We'll see.
Him much more leverage than he even had before, and he can do that without even running a single candidate anywhere. And I think he'd be much more successful with a project like this at the state level, at the House level, and at the Senate level than at the presidential level. And he can do so quite immediately.
I mean, obviously you've got a massive clash of two gigantic egos here, and people used to getting their own way. Do you think? I can't see them really making up from this. I mean, Trump called him a train wreck last night. Elon's been hammering away, dismissing his big beautiful bill as a total disaster that will bankrupt the country. It's very hard to see how they make up here, isn't it, Jack?
Well, I would say never count anything out. I mean, you've seen President Trump be able to make friends or allies or rivals in the past, and he certainly has the ability to do so, sometimes even against the wishes of MAGA, but, that's certainly his prerogative. For Elon, absolutely, he's got a track record of moving from one thing to the other, but if he sees perhaps a path forward from the business perspective, look, keep in mind, he's still got to deal with the government in terms of a lot of the contracts for his companies, in terms of Department of Defense, in terms of NASA, in terms of Tesla, so he's going to need a lot of this going forward, and I think whether they like it or not, they're stuck together.
He was friends with Epstein. He'll be friends with Elon.
What was that?
He was friends with Epstein. I'm sure he can be friends with Elon Musk.
He actually helped Epstein be prosecuted. He was the only person who was involved, kicked him out of the Epstein. You know all this, like it's just a very.
Have you heard of Alexander Acosta, the Florida district attorney?
Like your little
have you
like
heard of Alexander
1996
Acosta?
soul patch. You're like, oh, I gotta look at me, like I'm the guy from Third Eye.
You know who Alexander Acosta is? You were duped to cover up sexual abuse of
Donald
children.
Trump was
You were
kicked him out
duped.
of Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump was the only one who went to investigators and said, I will
Pierce,
work
do you know
with
who Alexander
against
Acosta is?
Epstein. This has been litigated a
Can I just add something here?
times.
Well,
It's been litigated.
Here we go. Now it's gonna get fun.
First of all,
Can I just-
well,
can I
Brian, I'll
just-
come to you, but Adam, just explain what you're talking about.
Yeah, really quickly, Alexander Acosta was a Florida district attorney. You can look this up. He knew both Trump and Epstein. He was appointed as a Secretary of Labor under Trump and had to resign in 2017 because people found out that he mishandled the Epstein case in 2007 and let Epstein get an illegal plea deal. Epstein was then able to go re-offend, and Trump appointed him in 2017. So I don't want to hear the dude that was brought to the White House to cover up sexual abuse saying that there was a, like, what are you trying to say here? Yeah.
You gotta wipe your face. Can you just wipe that little thing off your face there a little bit? You got a little,
All right, hold on a
mud
second.
of your face.
You have no
Hold on a
points.
second.
No
Can I
points,
just-
huh?
Can I add something?
You got a little-
Here we go. Here we go. Now we're gonna start with the LGBT insults. I'm here for it. Go ahead.
First of all, I hear the MAGA bullshit detector going off every single time Jack opens his mouth. First of all, people like Jack were the people who called Joe Biden a pedophile for sniffing hair, but yet we have Jeffrey Epstein on tape calling Donald Trump his best friend. They were hanging out together constantly. I've spoken to Jeffrey Epstein's brother
Do you want me
many
to go through
times.
the
They
list
were
of all
very
the
close.
Democrats
I'm
he was
not done
friends
yet.
with?
Jack,
Here's like, we can go through all this again, but Pierce, I know you've done
Jack, I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt you. Jack,
You'll report
Jack,
on this. These guys just want to play
Jack,
politics. I'm trying to be
Jack,
serious here.
Wait, what's that you said, Jack?
I'm not done yet. We're very close. I'm not done yet. Jack,
Here's like, we can go through all this again, but Pierce, I know you've done
Jack, I'm not done yet. I didn't interrupt you. Jack,
You'll report on
Jack,
this. These guys just want to play
Jack,
politics. I'm trying to be
Jack,
serious here.
These guys
Jack,
just
you're
want
the
to
Jack-
play politics. Wait a minute. These guys just want to play politics. That's what he said. Bruh, is this not politics? Remember, this is one of the things that Trump was touting the first time, that he had used Operation Talon to rescue trafficked kids. How quick we forget that. Huh. That's interesting. Thank you, Jack.
Jack,
Also,
I'm a
Epstein
talk show.
falls in your hand.
Yeah, just talked about it.
Right, exactly, Jack. Jack, just you want to defend Donald Trump and we're the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7, but when it comes to a Democrat, they're all pedophiles. But if Donald Trump is actually hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and
Do you have
Epstein
like
calls
any
him
evidence
his
of
best
this? Like,
friend,
do you have like a source on that, bro?
No, because
Bro.
nobody
so
knows
you
the
want
sources.
actually, yeah, I do. The Maxwell
So-
trial,
so-
where
so
it was
let's
learned that
please
he was
go.
on the Epstein flight. Why don't you listen? It was in the trial, in the Maxwell trial, that he was on the flight log 7 times. We have Jeffrey Epstein on
Look, he was on
audio
there 26
calling
times.
him his best friend. So here's my question to Jack. Jack,
How many
if
times did
Jeffrey
the-
Epstein was on audio,
And how many times did
Hey,
Jeffrey Epstein say
first
that
of all,
he was one of the
that's
founding
called
members of
whataboutism.
the
I don't defend
Hold on.
Jack. If Jeffrey Epstein
this
was
all
on
in one
audio saying that Joe Biden was his best friend, that wouldn't concern you at all?
Man, these are
All
like
you do is
2016
deflect and you
talking
talk about
points.
other
Like, you
people.
guys-
2016 talking points.
I mean,
Oh, 2016 talking points. Oh. Well, when y'all were over there talking about Hunter and Burisma, it wasn't 2016 talking points, though. Well, I should say 2020, 2022 talking points. It wasn't that. That was relevant information. All right. These were the same people who were defending Trump against David Duke and his endorsement. I just want y'all to understand. All right, Ashley, go ahead. Go off on Elon. We want to see it. Go ahead. Give Elon that work.
My line about the Epstein circle of famous friends is, to me, that there's a clear line before his initial conviction which was a complete stitch up in his favour, no question of that. There were
Jack, why don't they release the files then?
Well, hang on, Brian. Hang on, Brian. The point I'm going to make is, I do think if you continue to be a friend of Epstein, knowing he was a convicted pedophile after whatever it was, 2009 or so, as Prince Andrew did, for example, then I'm afraid that is seriously problematic. For those who were in his circle, a wide circle of well-known people, from Bill Gates to Trump to all these, Bill Clinton, I mean, he hooked in everybody, but a lot of them had nothing to do with him, including Trump, I believe, after that conviction. But if you carried on seeing him as Andrew did, living at his house for a few days, years later, knowing he was a convicted pedophile, that is different. I mean, do we agree?
Yeah, I think that's all been really good.
I certainly agree with what you're saying, Pierce, and your point there. But the point that I'm trying to make is there has to be a reason why they're not releasing the files. Why are they being so mum? Why has the list just magically disappeared? And I think one can come to a very logical conclusion, unless you're Jack and you defend Donald Trump 24/7, that maybe there might be something to do with the fact that Trump might be in these files, and there might be some wrongdoing there, considering the fact that they were at one point best friends.
Well, they've certainly gone as an administration from full bore. We're going to reveal everything, and it's really shocking. And there's going to have to be accountability. I mean, I had them on my show. They've gone from that position to suddenly, no, there's nothing mysterious about his death. He definitely killed himself. Here's the CCTV footage, and there is no client list, and none of that is right. And actually, you know what? It's all over. And it is odd. I mean, John Pierce, again, John, you know, from with your intelligence hat on, does this? I mean, do you smell a rat here? Does this look like there's been a little bit of a closing of ranks to shut this up?
Yes, I do smell a rat. And I'd like to know why no one in the media is talking about the investigation, or the fact that there should have been an investigation into whether or not Jeffrey Epstein was working for a foreign intelligence service. You know, let's say that.
So that's really interesting. So look, you've studied into this. What is the evidence that he might have been?
He is a textbook example of an access agent. Like I said the last time I was on the show, Piers, you're not going to recruit Bill Clinton. You're not going to recruit Bill Gates. You're not going to recruit Alan Dershowitz. But you can recruit someone who gets close to those people. You can give them something that you can hold over their heads if you have to in the end. And then you report back to your handlers everything that they say. And in exchange, you get untold wealth and a house in the Caribbean and the biggest townhouse in Manhattan and a private plane. And that's a pretty good life, especially if you're a pedophile and you enjoy doing things like that. And nobody's talking about whether or not he was an access agent.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, does the intelligence community believe that there is merit to that suggestion?
Yes, it does. It does. But the problem here is the accusation is that he was an access agent for the Israelis. And that's something that the intelligence community really doesn't like to touch.
Why?
Because we have this special relationship with Israel. Not like a Five Eyes relationship like we have with the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. But this special relationship where we share so much, we provide so much, we work with the Israelis on issues all around the region, at least, around the world, and on a handful of issues. Why upset the balance over one dead pedophile? Isn't it easier just to cover it up?
Brian, what do you think of that?
I believe that Jeffrey Epstein surrounded himself with a lot of powerful people. It is very, very possible that he could have been working for a government agency. Very, very possible as well. I would tend to agree with the fact that this needs to be investigated more. The media needs to talk about it more. And I don't think this is just a situation where Jeffrey Epstein was getting people to come on his island and sadly do horrible things to young girls. I think there's a lot more to this story. I think there's a lot of people hiding a lot of information. So I certainly agree with what he just said.
I mean, Jack, one of the conspiracy theories I've seen online a lot in the last few days is it's not a coincidence that Netanyahu is coming to the White House, that he's been there, I think, 3 times in the last few months. He has a much better relationship with Trump now than they did when he pissed Trump off by going to see Biden and so on. And that suddenly the Epstein files disappeared. If you were working as a conspiracy theorist and you bought into the idea that he was some kind of agent for the Israelis, which is not completely implausible, given all the connections he had, has there been some tacit agreement with Netanyahu to get rid of this problem? I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I think the perception is horrible. I think the perception is absolutely horrible, and puts a huge, huge onus on the entire administration, and certainly coming from Pam Bondi for her mismanagement of this. I want to go back to something that John was saying as well, that Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert, This is someone, so Robert Maxwell is someone who's highly fingered in a lot of these conspiracies,
Pause.
a lot of these allegations. His entire career, there were allegation after allegation that he was involved somehow with Israeli intelligence, going all the way back even to the 1940s, and serious questions about some of the work that he did all the way through this. And then, of course, as it goes, she becomes the recruiter for Epstein. And so these questions have really gone deeper and deeper and deeper. And of course, there's no actual evidence or, just a hearing of the evidence or release of the evidence, release of the file, a task force, even a press conference, and instead we get, oh, well, we're just going to move on. Here's a press release on a Sunday night when it's a holiday here in the U.S.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Adam, it is just a bit weird. The whole thing. I can't quite get my head around this because they were so emphatic that this was going to be huge, and now it's nothing. It's not like even mini huge. It's nothing. There's nothing to see here.
Yeah, to build on that, I can't tell if it would be worse if this was a cock-up or a conspiracy, because if it's a cock-up, that means they were straight up lying to the American people the entire time they actually had, right? Or if it's a conspiracy, that means they have it, and they hid it the entire time. I mean, either way, it looks really bad on the administration, and especially for an admin that has created this ground that is primed for conspiratorial thinking. A lot of the MAGA influencers were super ready, super excited for the Epstein files to release.
Facts.
So you create the grounds that are perfect for conspiratorial thinking, and then you pull back, there are going to be a lot of conspiracies about the admin now.
Jack, it's a confusing time to be in MAGA. Because there's so much going on, which must be quite bemusing. You're led up the hill of we're going to get all the dirt on Epstein. That disappears. You've got the attack on Iran, which seems to fly in the face of everything Trump has said about foreign wars, foreign engagement, and so on. You've got a kind of war at the centre of the party. You've got Elon Musk, who you were sceptical of, MAGA, and then he's the hero suddenly, and now he's the villain again. This is not an easy time for MAGA to get their heads around the consistent theme here.
Oh, Piers, what are you talking about? I love a fight. I'm always ready for a fight, and MAGA's always made a fighter. So if we got a fight, if we're coming, by the way, Charlie Kirk is out there today saying that there's a huge push for amnesty of these, the farm workers, and this was something that was mentioned at the rally over the weekend in Iowa, or I guess just before the weekend in Iowa. And so, look, if there's going to be a fight, then we're more than ready for a fight, and I know that I certainly am, and I'm not going.
But don't you have to know what you're really fighting for?
I'm fighting for the country. I'm fighting for America first.
No, I get that. But are you fighting for deportations
Yes.
of every illegal immigrant in the United States, if that means that farms close all over the United States, for example?
Yes, it is 100% across the board. When we were at the RNC, mass deportations now signs. And by the way,
So it was cool. So I just want y'all to understand, it was cool when they were getting the food and everything was cheaply priced. It was cool that they wasn't checking for raiding farms and all this. Now that the shit is messed up, now you want to get rid of them because you think that's going to affect the price. Even though you get rid of them, the price is going to go up. But y'all not advocating for these people to hire Americans at a workable rate. You got to watch them. You got to watch them.
it doesn't necessarily mean that they all need to be arrested. I know that people have been crunching the numbers and saying, oh, you know, if you do this many arrests a day and that many, I think that self-deportations are something that really need to be worked on. I think the remittance tax.
Self-deportations.
1% is too low in my estimation. I think that should be 5%, 10%, or even 50%, because in some of these cases, that's exactly what's going on. So they're here for economic reasons in the United States. And so if you put that...
But doesn't the United States economy need a lot of them? I mean, isn't this the whole point about the farmer debate, is that actually farmers have gone to Trump in big numbers and said, if you deport every illegal, undocumented worker in the country, we're out of business.
Well, look, you know, there can be a way for this to be done in a phased manner where they can get people in, and over time, it's not like it has to be, we're going to snap our fingers overnight and they're going to be gone, but absolutely, over time, 100%.
Brian, what do you think of that? I mean, it seems to me that Trump's had a lot of political wins. Whatever you think of it, the last 3-4 weeks, you could argue, have been the most successful politically that he may have had as a president. But it seems like on a lot of these issues, there's this dilemma which he's going to have to confront, and not least, I think, this issue of undocumented workers.
Well, it's interesting because Jack says MAGA is fighting for the country. So is fighting for the country giving the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% in the history of the nation? Is fighting for the country not giving people due process and people that have been living in this country for decades and ICE agents coming up to them, not identifying themselves, ripping them from their families right outside of the courtroom? They're trying to do the right thing or sending people to El Salvador prisons with no criminal record. That's fighting for the country while Donald Trump is doing this weird masturbation dance on July 4th when dozens of kids are missing.
Don't trick. You said, can someone explain how there have been zero crossing stats? Is it by choice? There's literal people still been crossing the border. They're not reporting it so they can make it seem like that the border, there's nobody coming through. There's people literally coming through. We went over it last week. In May, they had over 8,000 crossings. They're just not releasing them. Border's not secure, but, let them tell it.
In Texas, that's fighting for the country, Jack? No, I'm sorry. That's the opposite of fighting for the country, okay? You know exactly what dance I'm talking about, Jack. I'm sure you do it every night before you go to sleep. Yeah,
Here we go.
Jack, go to sleep, man. Okay, well, the point that I was trying to make, Jack, is you said that MAGA Republicans are fighting for the country. Deporting people and ripping up parts of the Constitution.
And in short work, they won't be, because those aren't Americans, those are illegals.
So they don't deserve due process? What does it say in the Constitution? It says every single person, not citizen, not non-citizen. The Constitution says every person, okay?
It says subject to the jurisdiction.
Okay, so you think that, so someone should be deported to, so you're okay with people being,
you don't have any.
so you're okay with someone being yeah, no, it's not a talking point. It's called reality, Jack. You don't live in reality. You live in MAGA world, and you take the Ben Shapiro talking points.
We're all going home.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, they're all going home.
He get after it.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, can I ask if we had studies proving, which we do, that these farm workers lead to increased economic output, would you still want to deport illegal farm workers? How is that putting America first when it hurts the economy?
Wow, it's
Pierce said,
amazing
farm
that
workers are coming to Trump.
Democrats say, oh, you're just going on the side of big ag and big corporations. Like, here, I'm the MAGA guy, and I'm the one who's saying,
You're not answering my question. How is that helping the economy?
Let's do something
if
for
it's
the
less
middle class.
economic output?
Man, you guys just love kissing the boots of big corporate America, huh?
What the hell?
I like the economy. I like having more economic output. And
How does
we have
the
studies
Wall Street group leather,
this isn't about Jack.
Do you know what I would have done if I was Trump? I'd have taken a massive victory lap over the stunning success in the southern border, reducing the numbers coming over illegally to almost negligible numbers from the millions that came in under Biden. I'd have taken a massive victory lap, which would have been applauded by, I think, most Americans. And then I would have targeted the people who were in the country illegally who committed crimes. And that was the first thing he said, I remember, as a campaign thing. When you get to a wider category of people, and you simply say we're going to deport everyone who's undocumented in America, I mean, you could potentially be looking at 100 million people. Nobody really knows, right?
100 million people? Yeah, okay.
America's economy in industries like farming, I think, is for the birds. So I just felt like Trump's got a big win. He's got a couple of big wins on immigration, right? Take the southern border win, deport the ones who commit crimes, and then move to a new reform of the whole immigration system, but not at the expense of industries like farming. John, you're nodding there.
Yeah, Pierce, there's a middle ground here. In early 2001, the Bush administration, the George W. Bush administration, negotiated an agreement with the government of Mexico that would address much of this. All of the Mexican workers who were here illegally, who were undocumented, would have to go back to Mexico. They could file papers to obtain a 9-month visa that would allow them to come here, work, pay taxes, and then go back to Mexico for 3 months. And they would have to go through this process every year. That way, they were legal to come and work, continue the jobs that they had, pay taxes, and go back. That was scuttled because of the 9/11 attacks. But I think that's the basis. That should be the basis for something that the Trump administration can negotiate with Latin American governments right now.
Okay, I want to just end quickly with Gaza. Netanyahu is at the White House. Jack, I mean, it seems to me it's imperative for the people in Gaza that there is a ceasefire, actually an end to this war. I think it's increasingly imperative for Israel and Israelis, actually, and Jewish people around the world that this ends. Because unlike the military strikes in Iran and against Hezbollah in Lebanon, this has made what's happening in Gaza with the enormous civilian death toll as they've gone after Hamas. This has made Israel increasingly despised around the world.
Well, it has, and not only that, but prior to the Iran flare-up, this conflict, this was also something that was eroding Bibi Netanyahu's political base internally within Israel. He's certainly got a rally around the flag moment right now because of the Iran situation and the way that that's been viewed. But prior to that, he narrowly survived a leadership vote just a week before the initial strikes were taken in that operation. And by the way, all of that was predicated on him breaking the ceasefire deal originally with Gaza. So if he does not agree, and I know that there's been a ceasefire I've seen in media headlines, but I would love to see him standing there with President Trump agreeing to that ceasefire there at the White House.
Yeah, and Adam, I just feel like I'm somebody who, for many months after October the 7th, given the scale of what happened, I continued to defend Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas, because Hamas were wedded publicly to continue doing this as many times as they could do it. They were wedded to getting rid of every Israeli if they could. So I supported the right to defend themselves. But in recent months, it's become almost impossible to defend what Israel's been doing. The 3-month blockade have already impoverished and starving people. The relentless bombardment killing so many civilians without any hostages getting released through this period.
Well, hey, they gotta figure that out. But even if you end it again, as we've documented on this show, the more you end it, they're just gonna go up against each other again in 5 years. Oh, we're just gonna do this dance again.
And then the people like Smodrich, the finance minister, publicly stating that his goal is to cleanse Gaza of all Palestinians, which is actually his ethnic cleansing, which is a war crime. You put all that together.
Trigger time, calm down.
And it's become almost impossible to defend Israel continuing to prosecute the war in Gaza the way they're doing it. So I just feel, as somebody who likes Israel and Israelis and feels for Jewish people around the world, you've had a very traumatic 2 years, as the people of Gaza have had, the innocent people in Gaza. I feel that has to end. What do you feel?
Yeah, I think I've gone through the same journey that a lot of people have, including you, where initially after October 7th, I was fully supportive of Israel's right to respond and root out Hamas. I would even argue with people in my generation, because I'm 22 and they have some wacky opinions. I'd be like, listen, if the power imbalance were reversed and Hamas had the power over Israel that Israel has over Hamas, there would be no Jews in the Middle East. You just have to understand the power imbalance. But I can't put an exact pinpoint on the date. But someday, I feel like they're just beginning to cross a line over and over and over. And when we're heading into like a year and a half or 2 years of
Yeah, it's called You Never Cared until you saw the grift that was October 7th. I get it. You're under 30, so you didn't see how they were popping off on each other in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. You didn't care then. Again, you can go research all their quarrels. Essentially, it's between every 5 to 8 years they yell at each other. Hell, they just yelled at each other in 2018. That's what they do. You didn't care about it then, don't act like you care about it now. Unless you're doing it for the almighty dollar. Then I'll understand why you care about it. By the way, screenshot, because that's a wild face to make. And again, Jack looked like he need help. Somebody help this white man.
With no end goal, no specific end goal. Like, I know they say they want to root out Hamas, but at some point, it feels like they're just killing people who are getting flour and way overstepping. So I've talked to a lot of people who seem to have gone through the same journey. Where they're like, oh, of course, root out Hamas, of course. But at some point, it seems to be too far.
Yeah. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to make a point, and you made this earlier, Pearson. We agree on this. Just because you criticize the Israeli government doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic.
No.
Okay, I'm Jewish. I criticize the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu, and Donald Trump took the Israeli intelligence over our own. Now we're...
You know what we could do for you, Tony? We could do that show later this week. Is the left a cult? Prove us correct. No, I'm going to say it exactly the way I said it on this one. The left is a cult. Prove me wrong. We could do that. Because the left is not without scrutiny. Because the way y'all rallied around Kamala Harris, knowing her history, yeah, you leftists need help. We can do that. Maybe we'll do it on Saturday before they go out to another paid rally. We can do that for them.
We're involved in another war, this time with Iran. I thought Donald Trump was going to be the peace president and he wouldn't get us into any new wars. Listen, Israel has a right to defend themselves. I agree with you, Pierce, 150% on that. But there comes a point where this is their war and it shouldn't be our war. Somehow it's okay for us to...
Not Chad, did you not see the title of the broadcast? MAGA is a cult. Prove me wrong. Not an ad person came in here and proved that I'm telling a lie. They are a cult. I literally proved it in the first 5 minutes. They've been arguing over Epstein for 3 days. They're giving Trump a pass. But these are the ones that talk about accountability. Yeah.
To put all this money into this situation with Iran. And by the way, that's a whole other story of how successful this strike was. But yet when it comes to Ukraine, we got to stop aiding Ukraine. How much money have we given Israel? $450 billion plus? That seems to be totally fine. But when it comes to Ukraine, with these MAGA Republicans, no, we got to stop defending our allies in Ukraine. So
They literally, what? Trump just said he's sending them weapons. Next. Now again, this happened yesterday. Right? This was yesterday. So he was wrong on that. This must have been before. They must have recorded this maybe a day or two before Trump said what he said about giving Ukraine weapons. So we'll see.
I've criticized Benjamin Netanyahu. I will continue to do so. We need to question the Israeli government, and the fact that our own president takes their intelligence over our own should tell you something. He's full of crap. And I got to tell you something. We got to stop putting all this money into a war that we should have never been involved with Iran in the first place.
Yeah, and it's perfectly possible and indeed perfectly reasonable, I would argue, to criticize the Israeli government without being anti-Semitic at all, i.e. like me, or to look at certain things Israel has done in its defense, the way it attacked Hezbollah with the...
Oh, Nene, wait till you see the live we do on Friday. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Because Friday, we're going to do a nice live about how MAGA hates women. And we have proof, a lot of proof. And we're going to go over it. And it's going to be on StreamYard. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're going to have fun that morning.
Extraordinary pager attack, and say that that was a very precise, very well targeted, very successful mission against a bunch of terrorists who've been waging war against them for years. So, and also think...
Tony, they did give him a pass. Let's not do that. You brought up Tim Pool. First off, Tim Pool is a grifter. He grifted from the left over to the right. He's only going to defend Trump and say what you just said because it's going to keep his audience there. You brought up Tatum Tots. Okay. Brandon Tatum is the same one who has Israel tattooed on his forearms. This is the same Brandon Tatum who on his channel said, I will stand with Trump no matter what. We're not about to sit up here and act like he's going to say, hold Pam Bondi accountable. He don't believe that. Because as you came late, we played a video where Trump sat there and yelled at the media for bringing up Jeffrey Epstein like it's the first time he's heard that name being brought up in years. We're not going to do that, Tony. Not this morning. The line of information is deep. You can find it. Brandon Tatum, like Tim Pool, is doing whatever he can to keep his audience there. Remember, he fell out with Candace Owens. He fell out with Sis over Israel. For those who didn't know that.
I think that what's happening in Gaza has got completely out of hand, and it looks like it's just involving the obliteration of the whole strip and the elimination of everyone there out of the strip. John, final word to you. What do you feel about this?
I have to agree. When you look at the Hezbollah operation, that was absolutely brilliant from an intelligence perspective. Imagine the moving parts that are at play in an operation like that, where you go from the point of production to the point of delivery and everything in between, the supply chain, absolutely incredible. But you can't just slaughter women, children, emergency workers, doctors, blow up hospitals every single day and say that you're fighting Hamas. Sure, Hamas is a terrorist group, but Hamas is minuscule compared to the population of Gaza. And these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of deaths are unacceptable. These are crimes against humanity, and they have to stop.
I don't think we've ever discussed this topic where everyone on the panel has broadly agreed. So I'm going to...
Truth is all. What independent thought? You talking about them grifters? They don't have independent thoughts. They literally troll online and see what people are talking about and then do a video on it. That's not independent thought. Tell me what Tim Pool taught you. Tell me what Brandon Tatum taught you. When have they ever talked about subjects like GINSA, which is the exchange program between Israel's for the IDF and our police forces over here. Tell me when they ever talked about that. When did they go down the history of Chicago politics? These people y'all bigging up are reaction channels. The easiest type of content to do on the internet. They're not going to sit in front of their audience live and actually teach them something. No, they're going to do outrage content. Kind of like with these people now with the Superman movie. That's all they do. They're not going to go down the lore of Superman and realize that James Gunn, you may not like the movie, but he literally is following the comic book. Everything is Henry Cavill. We can do that for them. We can do that for them, Kara, because they won't do that. They won't. I don't mind one day doing a whole history on Hamas. I don't mind doing that. I'm not scared to do it. That's what Hamas means, Islamic Resistance Movement. It is what it is. Oh, trust me, KR, the left one is just as depressing because it's funny. Now they have nothing to talk about except Mondani in New York, and you can't stretch that too much unless you do an interview with them. They have nothing else to talk about. Sir, where's the TDS? We barely mentioned Trump in this. Where's the TDS? Okay. Okay. This isn't even about Trump, but all right. So MAGA is a cult that has to do with Trump. Okay, not the people that run around and say they MAGA. Trump. I would have said then Trump worship is a cult. Then I would have said that. Defending Trump is a cult. Then I would have said that. Then I would have made it about Trump. We're making this about MAGA. And people have been in here for a while. They could tell you how many times on their hand I brought Trump up. He's literally not even in the thumbnail, but got it. Literally, Jack Posobiec is sitting here defending MAGA when he literally couldn't defend this. He literally sat on Piers Morgan's show, which we just listened to, trying to defend this, trying to make it seem like he was a victim of this. Patriot Gamer, I love that's the first thing you brought up, which is a lie. Okay, since we have to remind MAGA, were y'all not the same ones following around Riley Gaines? Talking about transgender high school kids for years? But you're right. You're right. You're right. Y'all didn't know. No, Kelly, I brought him up more than once, but this show wasn't even about him. But yeah, it's TDS. Okay. Mag is the same one who, what we're talking about, kept bringing up the Epstein client list, knowing there were kids on there. They wanted everything out in the open, so you wanted kids doxxed. to prove a point. You wanted kids docs, but y'all gonna tell me, never mind. You're praising this. Okay. All right. Fine. First off, I'm not going to take you seriously if you're going to be upset at me. You can't spell correctly. Number two, how are y'all not a cult when I literally saw MAGA members put gauze on their ears after that man got shot? The man literally sold gauze. Oh, okay. Yeah, that we forgot about that, right? We forgot about that. Okay. All right. We forgot about the gauze. Yeah, we forgot about this movement in Congress, right? We forgot about that, right? We forgot about them doing that outside, right? We forgot about this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we forgot about this, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't cult behavior. You're right. I'm standing in solidarity with my president. Yeah. People were taking that picture and putting it on the walls in their house. Yeah, but you're right. This is not cult behavior. The man literally sold $300 sneakers is sold out. Who remembers that live we did when we actually went over all them products? You had MAGA members literally throw away life savings to get a meme coin that they crashed. Sir, we're not liberals over here, so I don't know why you're bringing that up. See what I mean? There's another cult-like there's another cult-like characteristic. You can't answer what I'm saying, so you're going to think we're liberals. We're not liberals here, sir. I'm literally going to do a show on Friday shitting on liberals. Look, I can't take you serious. You can't even spell this. I can't take you seriously. Good, reported. Another cult-like behavior, ladies and gentlemen. Your avatar is the Punisher symbol. That's cult-like. Oh my God. Yes, MAGA, you guys are canards. Correct. And November 3rd, you're going to get cooked. Now, do you want it with the gooseberry sauce or you want to do it the French way with the orange sauce? Which way? Because I know y'all not with them Asians. Because I would say you just deep fry it and put it with the spicy sauce. How you want to cook it? My God. Defend what I said. Go ahead. Hey, Patriot, let's cut all the crap out. Defend this. Go ahead. Tell me this is not cult behavior. Please. This is Time Magazine, Shelby. It's right here. This is Time Magazine. Why Republicans are patching their ears. It's a 4-minute read. This came out last year, July 18th. We all remember this. This was the first rally after he got shot. At. See, now he crashing out. I just asked him a simple question. Just defend this. That's all I asked. Defend this. Tell me this is not cult-like behavior. You can't do it. You don't think it's weird your president, instead of working to help the country, he's out there about to push out fragrance for men? You don't think that's weird? Okay. Just showing support for a brave man. My God. Okay, let me ask you this. What would have been your reaction if Obama got shot at and a whole bunch of lefties did this? What would your reaction be? And Isaiah, don't you sit up here and lie and tell me you don't care. You wouldn't think that was weird. President Biden's not my president, sir. I didn't vote for him, so he's not my president. Next question. Okay, I know Obama's trash. I asked you a question. If Obama got shot at in the air and a whole bunch of lefties, including black folks, because black folks also did this, you wouldn't say that was weird? It's a simple question. I didn't vote for Biden until I actually voted for Trump in 2020 in New York City. So did my wife. Next question. And I've told people this many a time. Next question. Sir, I don't need to lie. Why would I lie about voting for Trump? During the pandemic, why would I lie about that? Fam, that man said I lied about voting for Trump. Yet the fact that I spent time on my audio podcast when I had it, shitting on Biden, saying I'm not voting for that man. I went in that booth with my wife. She was next to me. Not in the booth, but she went with me to go vote. And we voted for Trump. Both of us. Okay. All right, Patriot. You got it, sir. You're right. I was stupid to vote for Trump because he lost. You're right. I wasted a vote. I should have just wrote in a candidate. I didn't vote for Kamala. I wrote in a candidate. And everybody who's been here saw it on my community post. Try again. Okay, Isaiah, let's play the bet game. I bet you I voted for somebody else other than Kamala. You want to put some money on it? Come on now. I got money. I'll bet you $1,000 I did. Now let's play it. You want $1,000? I'll help you before you get paid on Friday. Come on. You want that money? Who said I voted for a person? But the reason why I wrote in a candidate because all 6 that were on the ballot did not give me the best deal. So I said I'm not voting for none of them. What do you mean I didn't vote? I voted because of their color? You're not even making sense now. Okay, I figured. Y'all talk real big until some money come out. All right, now everybody want to go in the house. Everybody want to go in the house after that. All right. Now it's gonna take a while. Maybe not. I don't usually post on it. Come on, sir. Come on. It's easy. Yeah, you do. The way this is about to go bad, you're going to need that $1,000. It's about to get rough. I put on my X account yesterday, tomato prices are about to go up. It's about to get rough. But that's all right. I'll just show it to folk. There you go. That's my ballot. And I voted against the Democrat that's representing me in the House of Representatives. So for those who want to tell me that, y'all can leave now because I know y'all going to get upset that I wrote that. That's all right. I'm so unstressed. I'm laughing at y'all right now, arguing over Trump and bringing up Command Me. See, told you, the number's created. You obviously did because you stayed. And you do care because you ran outside and said, I voted for Kamala. Now you ain't got a response now. Where your lyrics? Where's your lyrics? Yeah, Trump won and you got somebody backing off tariffs 5 times. Yeah, that's a win. All right. You had people in Canada and Mexico punk you the first week he got there, trying to play that tariff game. That's great. God bless America, right? You had a bunch of MAGA running around talking about let's annex Canada and Mexico, and y'all y'all let the liberals in Canada win an election they were on par to lose badly in. That's crazy. That's y'all's legacy. It literally says there, Hulk, if you can't read, I can't help you. You must not be Professor Hulk. You must be Savage Hulk. That's all right. Savage Hulk don't think. Sir, I understand tariffs perfectly. If you tell me it's a negotiation, it ain't working. Because the only deals he's done is UK and Vietnam. Where are the big deals? Everything else is a framework to do a deal. He extended Japan and South Korea on Monday. Don't tell me he knows what he's doing. We should be getting money from them today. He gave them a pass. So please. Sir, the tariff is not a negotiation tactic. Stop doing that, Isaiah. No, it's not. And by the way, if you think I'm lying, I'm going to help y'all out. Y'all favorite economist, Thomas Sowell, when people love to bring him up, even he said that Trump's tariff policy is not smart. So you going to argue with him or you just going to stand on that square? Let me know. You're threatening another country with a tax. Why would they do business with you? Why? Let me ask you this, Isaiah. Oh, now it doesn't make him right. Wait a minute. One of the best economists in the country, now he not right. You see what I mean? That's cult-like. They praise Thomas Sowell for everything else, but when I bring up the tariffs, now it's a problem. He's not right. Okay. Y'all saw it, family. Take a screenshot of that. Who needs the currency, Isaiah? They're getting away from the dollar. They don't need it. They're dumping the dollar. They're trading each of these other countries are trading their own dollars with each other. They don't need our money. Okay. All right. Japan needs what? What does Japan need? He just yelled at Japan 2 weeks ago because they said they don't want to buy our rice. Because their stock is starting to come back to normal levels. They're starting to sell rice again in the stores, the big bags. He just yelled at them for not taking the $200 million worth of rice we were going to sell them. So we're good. Yes, Japan is in a bad economic state right now, but they must be okay because not only did they say we don't need your rice, we hold most of your debt. I think we're okay. And they're so gangster with it, they went to go deal with China and they don't like each other. They must be doing something that's not going to affect them that bad if you're going to go run to China. But I guess. I saw somebody put up some post this morning talking about Japan is better because they don't use cash. And I'm like, they literally still use cash and coins over there. Like, where did you get that from? And he had Japanese people in there telling them we still use cash and coins. You had people in the West arguing with them. People that are on the ground that live there. That's crazy. Well, JB, that's why they're going to China. That's why they're going to the Beijing Expo, and that's why they invited China to the Tokyo Expo in September. They're looking to do significant business with each other. I said this a couple years ago. I said, don't be surprised if Japan goes to BRICS. Don't be surprised. I know they're in the G7, but in the G20, but you never know. Jones versus Cormier Ford. Jones. And I like DC, but Jones would destroy that man. Yeah, you know. Cormier wants to go to WWE. Bless his heart. I mean, again, I gotta give Trump credit. He finally put tariffs on bricks. I mean, that's not, they cursed him out over it, but you know, let's see if anything will come to that, or is he gonna back off again? We'll find out at the end of this month. It'll be officially 6 months since he's been in office. We'll find out. Right, Velvet. He's the greatest president of all time. Sure. The greatest president of all time, who was supposed to be this transparent. He's still at. Why is he being the rogue and just putting out the list? The supposed list. All right. Yeah, I'm lying, yet every time you bring something up, I pull it up. What did I lie about, Patriot? Go ahead. What did I lie about? We're going to let you have it. No, I don't think Trump is handling Canada correctly. And it showed because him and MAGA caused the conservatives up there to lose not only the prime minister race, but a seat in their parliament because they wouldn't shut up about annexing Canada. I'm not saying that everything he's done so far isn't a positive, but his negatives are way too high. He's got to shut up. Go do the work. The supply chain is not fixed. Malaysia is about to overtake Taiwan in the semiconductor realm, in the chips. He's not talking about that. All he did was put a tariff on them. Okay, great. 10%, what is that going to do? Oh, man. Okay, yes, Texas begged for aid. Any other state is going to do the same thing. They're going to beg for aid. And he signed the declaration. Okay, that's great. Let's see how long it's going to take them to fix it. Hurricane Helene's disaster is still going on. Let's see how fast they clean up Texas. How is the tariff chart working? He only got about $121 billion back. How is it working? That's not a lot of money. We have 36 trillion in debt. It's not a lot. That's only 4%. Something like that. That's not a lot. See, his plan was he should have just tariffed everybody 10%. He probably hit $500 billion by now, but he wanted to go fuck around and start throwing out numbers to people, and then they were like, listen, I don't know who you think you are, but you need us more than we need you. So you play that. We're just going to hit you back with tariffs, and you're not going to like the numbers. He said, okay, let's sit down. Yeah. Okay. All right. Correct, Juan. In a short period of time. That's not real money. And again, y'all keep telling me that he's using these tariffs to negotiate. Ain't nothing coming out of them. Where are these significant deals? The only significant deal he's done since being in office was giving the Middle East $400 billion for data. Yeah, y'all cool with that. Was 194 countries, all of them giving 10%. My God. But y'all want that. It's cool. This is what y'all want. Y'all want somebody to go levy 55% tariffs on a country and think they're just gonna be like, okay. The man telling you we're gonna deport all the illegals. 5 months later, well, I gotta work on an executive order to keep some of these illegals here because the farmers are hurting. Huh? Excuse me. Okay. But y'all not upset at that. You're still toting the line. Respect. But your man clearly is about business. He's clearly not about the people. All right. Why are they blaming him? Because he put cuts on the National Weather Service. This is the same man. See, what MAGA don't want to tell you is this is the same man who said he was going to defund FEMA. Yeah. But MAGA missed that part. We didn't. MAGA did. But we'll show it to you. Because I don't want Patriot to come pipe back up saying I'm lying on that too. There you go. Last June. The agency could be eliminated as soon as December 2025. He want to get rid of FEMA. Because remember, when he campaigned, he said he wants the states to be in control of disasters. When we know they can't get to the same resources. That's him. When they know the federal sector can mobilize faster than the states. But okay. Okay. All right. Yes, that's going to affect hurricane warnings. That's going to affect Tornado Alley. That's going to affect earthquakes. Yes. Because there's no way you can divvy up FEMA's budget and it be equal across the board. There's no way. Because number one, California, New York, Florida, they're going to be the first states to go up in Texas, the first states to go up there and say they need the most money. Because they have to deal with hurricanes. They got to deal with potential earthquakes. They got to deal with now these tornadoes that are popping up in places that they usually don't pop up at. What they call it, those bursts that look like tornadoes, but they're not. The blizzards. California is going to come back with wildfires? Yeah. And then what? The other 44 states are going to be like, yo, what the hell? Because, you know, they don't care about Alaska. But all right. Winston Churchill, the states do have their own. They usually don't go to FEMA and the government unless it's wide scale. The point is to help cover costs. But please, go ahead and tell me that he didn't say this. I'm not blaming Trump. I'm saying, why are you talking about defunding FEMA? That's not the only thing that they do, though. They're also on the ground if we have a terrorist attack. They help coordinate relief efforts as well, getting people who might be displaced. Yeah, they help with that too. If a building collapses, yeah, FEMA's on the ground. If power goes out in a city, they're on the ground. It's not just for natural disasters. Again, the states can only do so much with the resources they're given. Even if you give them more money, it still puts them in the same position. They can only do so much. Oh no, Kelly, no, they're back. They're back. They're going after the Austin fire chief now because of what happened at Camp Mystic. So yeah, that's gonna be the new thing. And shout out to that person that told me they were gonna do that. Okay, fall of mine. Yes, they were delivered to the illegals. Yeah, and that was a mismanagement, and people rightly called it out. So based on what you're saying, your logic is because they did that, they need to be eliminated. So everybody else got to suffer. Okay, cool. Cool. What is this? President Donald Trump canceled a popular disaster grant program in April. $4.5 billion for local projects that are designed to protect neighborhoods from flooding, hurricanes, and other disasters. The money would have come from a program called Building Resilient Infrastructure and Community. That acronym is hilarious, by the way. That Trump's first administration had created in 2018. So he killed something he created. Okay. All right. Oh, wow. Jake, what do you mean? I respect the fact you work for FEMA. The man literally said it. He literally said it when he was campaigning. He wants to kick all disaster-related issues to the states. He literally said it. Trust me, I know you're new to this channel. I covered the entire election cycle. We heard him say it. He did that in response to what was going on with Hurricane Helene. And the one before that, or after, I forget what the order was. He literally said it. Remember, MAGA was blaming FEMA for why North Carolina was badly hit and so many people died. But, all right. Look, somebody wrote this. What is this? Trump, rear clear policy. Trump is right to disband FEMA and return disaster funding to the states. Alfredo Ortiz. FEMA's $30 billion 2024 budget includes $20 billion for its disaster relief fund designated for direct emergency relief activities. The rest is spent on bureaucracy, insurance, and grants. In other words, only 2/3 of FEMA's funding actually goes to directly helping people. Some of those grants are in this too, but you know. No, all right. Let's see. $11:30. Let's see what they spent for legals. Let's see. Western Journal. They spent more than $1 billion on non-citizen migrant resettlement and other services over the past 2 years. That was Biden and them. And we called that out. But yeah. But again, y'all want this? It's cool. I'm not mad at y'all. If this is what you voted for, cool. I think we're going backwards still. We're not going forward. They're keeping their eyes off the main issues. Jeffrey Epstein is not the main issue. I read the big beautiful bill. The only supply chain he's talking about in there is for the military industrial complex. But, you know, those reconciliations he put talking about no tax on tips and overtime. Y'all are getting worked, but I said that, people argued with me. I said, fine. I'm not going to belabor that point no more. When he changes the tax codes, then y'all are going to find out. What am I wrong about Winston Churchill? Go ahead. I don't know how much Biden and them took in their pocket, and you'll never know, because that's the government, and the government is not going to tell you the truth. Okay, what problem did he fix besides the border? What problem? How does that help us? Why is stuff still going up if he got all these people out the country? Why is stuff still going up? He got all these illegals out of here. Why aren't car prices going down? Why aren't people's wages significantly going up? I need this answered. Car prices didn't go down. Oh Lord. They didn't go down. Trust David, they didn't go down. All right. How does Trump get things done properly? Ford is oh Lord. Ford is literally about to close factories. How is that being done properly? And what did I tell y'all yesterday, family? What have I told y'all since he got elected? When they can't answer a question, it's only that he was there since January. Let me help y'all. Y'all did not give the other administration that kind of a pass. We're not giving it to Trump. Don't do that. And especially he shouldn't get this passed because he's already been president. So he already knew what the game was. I don't want to hear it. He had 4 years to study how bad this economy got. He should have had a solution from 2022. when it was Biden's first budget. He should have had the solution. He should have came in as gangbusters. He has not done it. So I don't want to hear that he just got there. I don't want to hear it. Nope. Because he's supposed to be the economy guy. He's supposed to be Mr. Businessman. I'm not letting y'all get away with that. Nope. And I didn't let Biden and them get away with it. No way. Actually, Raymond, they are his problems because he created this. He created this when COVID happened. He created this. This is his problem. He destroyed the supply chain with his decisions and his administration's decisions. They destroyed the supply chain. We're not going to do that. Okay, so Raymond, so your second part of your comment, so you voted for that man to do something later. We need relief now. You're telling me you voted for something that's going to hopefully reap benefits later. Okay. All right. Sir, we know exactly how things are done. And apparently Trump must know how things are done because he campaigned on these things and they're not coming to fruition. Remember, this is the same dude who said grocery prices were going to drop the second day he was in office. They're not dropping. We're having shortages all over the place. Like I said earlier, tomato prices are about to go up. Yeah, okay. Okay, yes, Raymond, I thought when y'all vote for a president who stood on saying we're gonna have immediate change and people are going to feel better, I think you would want it now. Yeah. Oh Lord, he said you want change now. Oh my God. Sir, okay, David, and why did they go down? Go ahead, tell us why they went down. Go ahead and tell us the lie that domestic production went up. Go ahead, tell us that lie. Or you want to tell them the truth? Sir, no. I don't care about long-term change. Your man ran on changing things within the first 100 days. That's why they called it that. He the one that campaigned on wars were going to stop the first day, grocery prices were going to stop the second day. These countries were going to pay our tariff rate. That's why most people voted for him, and to get the illegals out. That's why they voted for him. He's failing in all of those. But go ahead. I'm gonna leave you alone because you're actually using your brain, and I like corresponding with you. David, go ahead. Don't run now. Tell me how egg prices went down. Go ahead. Okay, since you're not going to tell him, I'm going to tell him. He went into hock with Canada and Turkey. Yeah. We covered that on the channel as well. Why do you think Erdogan was so insistent on coming over here to talk to Trump? Yeah. Erdogan wants to be the crash out dummy to try to stop BRICS. That's why he wants to meet Trump. But okay. Y'all gonna find out. Let's see what the general egg price is right now. Let's look.
Looks so beautiful.
Let's see. $262 right now. The lowest price was May, $252. So it's going back up. It's starting to go back up. Okay. All right. Just like somebody keep telling us that gas prices are going down, and yet they're going up. All right. Sir, David, see, that's what I mean. You didn't even listen to what I said. The illegals are getting out of here, and yet he's doing an executive order to keep them here. Or did you miss that part? He literally said it yesterday. He literally said it on July 3rd. But again, 18 for $8.99 is not a deal. Before that shortage, we got 30 eggs in there for, what did we pay? It was like $20. That ain't exactly a deal. And them eggs lasted. No, I tell a lie. It was 60 eggs. I tell a lie. It was 60 eggs for $20. And we went to Costco and got it. David, see, you're partially right. You also forgot that they tested those same dead birds that Biden and Trump told these farmers to destroy, and they literally didn't have bird flu. We covered that here too. Shout out to Donnie the Misfit. Yes, trade. They got 3 million eggs from Canada and Turkey. That wasn't domestic production. But okay. Yeah. No, he didn't. The wars are still going on. He finna try to go start another one. But he doing well. All right, let's see what the gas price is today. Let's see if the average changed. Little change to average LA County gas price. I want to know how much of that winter fuel they're still using. Georgia's price is down 4 cents. Okay. Can't wait to see it prop back up next week. Can't wait. But let's see. 316, it went up. Son of a bitch. It went back up. It went back up. It went back up. Because the last time we looked, it was at 314. It went up 2 cents. Son of a... Okay. Well, Dwight, to be fair, Biden sexuals did the same thing. But anyway, y'all, I gotta head to work. This was a fun conversation. Now, the person who said that California, their price went down to $3.99, I want to know where they live at. What do you mean, what was it a year ago? I guess we could look it up. Let's see. a year ago. It was 351 a year ago when we were deep in the thick of it. It was 351. But I also need y'all to understand this. You do understand you're operating Biden's budget, right? Y'all do understand that. And y'all do understand that, again, they're probably still using the winter blend, which is cheaper than the summer blend. I just want y'all to understand this. I give full context to everything. This is not even his doing. But okay. Anyway, I gotta go to work. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I'll try to be better next time. Be with us here Friday. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Be with us here Friday when we go in on liberals, because they're in a cult too, and it's gonna be funny. And Saturday we're gonna have a nice StreamYard show about how MAGA hates women. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But anyway, it's Wednesday. Go out and hump something, because it's hump day. So y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos